What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jacob from Topside MMA, and today we're going over my recap for UFC Paris. Now, we had a good card, made some money on this. We were up 0.87 units total on the day, and the pre-fight bets were up 0.13 units, so a little bit of profit there, but still, hey, money's money, profit is profit. We had a good card, so we're going to break down all these fights, kind of go over them real quick, and then we'll talk about the final parlays and final thoughts and all the betting results as a total at the very end. So, first up, Sam Hughes versus Shauna Bannon. This went exactly how we thought it would. Sam Hughes is a beast, and Shauna Bannon is buns. I literally had over 20 minutes this week of rambling, of slandering Shauna Bannon. She is not a good fighter. Her little karate stance bullshit was not going to work. Sam Hughes was able to take her down, control her on the ground, and Sam Hughes put on a masterclass just as we thought. Now, the one thing I added on here, when I woke up, I posted that video, the betting breakdown video, late at night before the fight started. I woke up the next morning, and Sam Hughes went from a minus 345 favorite all the way down to a minus, 265 favorite. So I woke up the next morning, I saw that. She was my lock for this entire card, so that I had to throw some more money on her. It was just too good to be true. I woke up, it was like Christmas morning, waking up to a present. So I had another half unit on Sam Hughes that I added on. But yeah, that ended up cashing. This fight went exactly how we thought it was. Now, I thought it was going to be a little bit longer. I thought Sam Hughes maybe was not going to be able to get her out of there that early. I thought maybe she was going to just drag her out, just kind of slow her down on the ground. I wasn't thinking Shauna Bannon was necessarily going to get finished that fast, but I'm not surprised. She's buns. She got, I don't want to say fraud checked because she was never good to begin with, but yeah, Sam Hughes ran right through her. Shout out to Sam Hughes. This pick went exactly how we thought it would. Now, this was an interesting one. In hindsight, this is, I'd say, was my one bad pick, or maybe there's one other one I want to talk about too, but looking back on this one, I thought, Renat did have the better experience. He has such a good record. I don't want to overlook that, and I think I did overlook that a little bit on Andreas Gustafsson. Now, this fight was extremely suspicious, though. Andreas Gustafsson, he is known for his durability, never being finished. He's a tough dude. I mean, if you see the pictures of his fights, if you go and watch his tape, this guy goes to war, he goes to brawl, he goes to hold guys against the cage, he has a pressure-heavy wrestling style, and he threw that away, and he gets clipped, and he not even clipped, he gives up in under 1 minute. This was a very, very suspicious fight. We're going to talk about it more at the very end. I am damned to say that this fight was fixed. I don't have no proof, obviously. Just to see this go out, and we've seen with Renat too. He finds ways to win. He's win bullshit split decision, robbery decisions in Abu Dhabi, and now this. Very suspicious. I would not be surprised if Gustafsson owed someone some money, or if he took a payday, if he took a Michelle Pereira, just to give me my money, I'll throw this fight. That was unlike anything we've ever seen from him. I went and watched the replays of this fight like 5-6 times. I don't know how he got clipped. He just completely gave up, completely folded. It was perfectly under 1 minute. This seems like they just someone paid him all, and it seems like someone threw the house on an under 60 seconds finish, because how in the hell was this even remotely possible? Now, there have been times I've been wrong on picks in the past, like when we saw Carlos Leal get knocked out in his last fight. That wasn't anything BS or robbery or anything like that. It was a crazy shot. He got put out. That wasn't an acting job. He didn't give up. That was just, we got unlucky on that. That was just, sometimes shit happens. This was this was one of the most weird fights I can even talk about. Like, I'll talk about this more a little bit as we go on, but this was extremely suspicious. Something really rubbed me the wrong way here. And yeah, I don't know. Renat is just, I don't think he's even all that good, and he doesn't even have that much power. So to see a guy crumple like that, one of the most suspicious endings I've seen in a long time. So I have this meme here, when it feels like you're right, but you can't prove it. Man, this feels like it was the most clear, fixed fight. I don't know. It was very, very, very suspicious. So, I mean, either way, the only thing that I do say about this fight in terms of like looking back on it, probably should have picked her or not. Not this knockout. I think that was bullshit, but he was at least winning the exchanges early on. He was winning on the feet. He was the better striker. So, looking back on hindsight, especially with Renat being the underdog, that would have been the better pick. This is the one pick, at least. Like, in terms of picking who won, who lost, yeah, definitely in hindsight, should have picked Renat in here. I think that was not the best call. But for that stoppage to be in under a minute like that and to see him completely fold and give up, does not seem good. That is just a very, very, very weird fight. But anyway, next up, we got Brad Tavares versus Robert Bryczek. Now, honestly, I'm not mad about this pick either. We were talking about this one, and I literally said in my breakdown videos, Brad Tavares is likely the better fighter, so if he wins this, it's likely going to be by decision, but there's a chance that Robert can get him out of there. He has knockout power. If anyone's going to get clipped, it's going to be Brad Tavares, because his chin has been a problem in the past where he's been hit, and Robert, he's a big dude. He's just going to be a marauder. He has the power in his hands. He's going to try and make this fight ugly. That's exactly what he did. That's how he went out and knocked him out. Now, Brad Tavares was not going to win the decision either way, so this pick would have been wrong either way, but I'm not mad about it because I was kind of leaning one way or the other. It was likely going to be Brad Tavares by decision or probably Robert Brishek by a knockout, so kind of had the right idea. Yes, the wrong pick, but had the right idea here. Now, I added two bets onto this fight. These were live bets. We didn't talk about these. That's why I got them in blue. So when we go over the recap at the very end, it'll all make more sense. But yeah, like I said, I had the fight ends via KO. I added this right at the end of the first round. I saw Brad Tavares completely busted up. And actually, no, it was midway. It was like right after the first round into the second round. Because when I saw the site, I was like, okay, this line, I saw it was live for the fight to end by knockout. It was like right around here and towards the beginning of the second round. And I see the second round, I'm like, okay, I wanted to see, is Robert going to completely like death gash? Like, is he going to have any cardio left in the tank? Brad Tavares was saved by a miracle. I don't know how he didn't get put out there. I mean, he barely stood up. So I figured, all right, if Robert has any cardio left, if he's just going to cardio his way through this, and if he has the durability, the cardio to last and keep that volume up, he's going to put Brad Tavares out of there. There's no way he's going through two more rounds of that beatdown. So I was a bit surprised, the second round, they kind of took it off. So I was a bit worried. I was like, oh shit. Like, I'm a bit worried here because Brad Tavares, he tried to implement the wrestling a little bit and it was back and forth. It was like the pace had definitely dropped. The second round kind of seemed like Robert was taking it off a little bit. And that's the thing is, though, I was like, my thought, because I had the Robert Brishek live money line too. I thought that first round would have been a 10-8 round. So I figured, all right, let's say he death gasses and he got that 10-8. If he got a 10-8 round, even if Brad Tavares wins the next two rounds, it's still going to be a draw either way. So I put a little sprinkle, 0.25 units on Robert Brishek live money line at -130. This was after the first round. I'm like, this dude just got a 10-8 round, in my eyes at least. How the hell is this a coin toss? He should be a much bigger favorite. So I figured this was definitely worth a shot. Threw a 0.25 unit on it, sprinkle on it, and yeah, ended up cashing. Both of these ended up cashing, which these were good spots because sometimes when you start doing the live betting on the method of how the fight ends, it's usually a trap. I feel like more often than not, those usually don't end up working out in your favor. But I just really like that line for plus 100 pick 'em odds. I figured, all right, I doubt Brad Tavares' chin is going to be able to go through two more rounds of what he endured in the first. Just made sense to me. But in terms of the pick, not mad about this one. Now, next up, Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. This went exactly how we talked about. Exactly how we talked about. Trey Waters is a reach merchant, man. He's a reach merchant. When he can't bully people and he can't use his reach to just stay at range, he's not that good. I literally talked about it too. He stands forward on his lead leg and he has his chin out because he's trying to bait you into when you throw your shots. He's trying to counter strike you. That's not going to work against a guy like Sam Patterson who had the reach advantage here. So what happens? He tries to do the same bullshit. Sam Patterson touches his chin and he gets knocked out. Now, I thought he was probably going to submit him. I wasn't expecting the knockout, but at the same time, I was thinking Sam Patterson was going to get him out of there early. He's on a crazy first round finishing spree, man. Sam Patterson is dangerous. He's a good striker. Trey Waters is overrated. He lost his last fight to Billy Ray Goff, but got I don't want to say robbery decision, but I don't think he won that fight at all. It was pretty clear to me that he lost that fight. So, and he looked bad against Billy Ray Goff, who just went out and got starched in his most recent fight and got submitted in under, I don't know, like 2-3 minutes. So this was Sam Patterson all day for me. He was one of my highest confidence picks. So I was glad to see this one cash because we had some bets on him too. Obviously no singles on him on this and this sheet, but we had him in a later parlay that we'll talk about at the very end. But yeah, Sam Patterson cash. Love this pick. This one exactly how we talked about. Awesome pick. Now, same thing, Carly Fernandez had one unit on him at -162, and oh my goodness, this one exactly how we talked about. Carly Fernandez, the main thing I talked about in the breakdowns was his lead leg kicks, how he is able to destroy other guys' lead legs with his leg kicks. His leg kicks are devastating. Carly Fernandez, his shins are made of stone, man. This dude has crazy powerful leg kicks. And what does he do? He goes out here and runs through Harry Hardwick. I mean, he was butchering those legs. It was brutal to watch that shit. It was pretty nuts. But yeah, I mean, he made it look easy. Shout out to Carly Fernandez. He did his thing. He's dangerous. He's slept on, honestly. And considering these odds, it felt like a blessing we got him at -162. So this was awesome. Went exactly how we thought it would. Now, I did have it by decision. I didn't think he was going to run through him that bad. I thought he was just going to probably put on a minute winning masterclass, just point fighting his way to a 30-27. I didn't think he was going to starch him like that with the leg kicks in round one, but Harry Hardwick just could not handle the leg kicks. Seeing him get rolled out in a stretcher was not a good look. I don't know if they're even going to bring him back after that. Who knows? But I feel bad because he had to step up a weight class on short notice, so I feel bad for Harry Hardwick. He definitely had a big disadvantage in this, but Carly Fernandez showed us that there are levels to this shit. So Pretty great performance from Cowboy Fernandez. Now, next up, Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delia. Now, this one I was pretty proud of too. I had this as my trap of the week, but at the same time, I was pretty much saying Marcin Tybura, he's coming in heavy. This is the heaviest he's weighed in he's only weighed this heavy in 2 out of his last 25 professional fights. So that tells me he's going to try and make this a ugly, sloppy, cage-hugging fest. And that's exactly what he tried to do. But we talked about Ante Delia. He's going to have the cardio advantage. He's going to be able to last. He has more power in his hands. He has the cardio. So even if Marcin Tybura tries to wear on him, I don't think it's necessarily going to be enough, because at any point, if they separate, Delia is going to have the cardio to still be able to throw bombs. That's exactly what he did. He starched Marcin Tybura. Now, Marcin Tybura had a little bit of cage control there where he was pushing up against the cage. But obviously, once they got back to space, it was over. Delia just ran right through Tybura. And we had the bet that we talked about too. I was super happy about this one. I ended up placing a quarter unit on this. We talked about it in the full breakdown in the bets video. And I had this line I talked to you guys about. I just didn't have anything placed at that particular moment. But yeah, after Gustafsson ended up shitting the bed, I was like, all right, no, we're playing this line. So I had 0.25 units on this at minus 170. I really liked it a lot. Just like we said, if Ante Delia was going to win, I thought he was going to really starch him with a big knockout. Whereas if Tybura was going to win, it was likely going to be a hugging fest with all that extra weight. That was going to be his best path to win. So made sense for this one. And yeah, really good pick. I really like the results of this one. We went just how we talked about. So next up, Omar Sy versus Brenson Ribeiro. Another masterclass bet. This aged like fine wine. When I saw him hit that takedown early on, I was like, all right, we're in the clear, baby. We are in the clear. So we had the Omar Sy and over 1+ takedowns landed, same game parlay, minus 180, absolutely cashed. We cut the minus 650 money line down to minus 180. Just for him to land one takedown. What does Omar Sy do? He's landed a takedown in every single one of his UFC fights so far. Brenson Ribeiro has a 0% takedown defense. This was free money. This was free money. Now, like I said in my last video, there have been times where I've been burned on these 1+ takedown parlay or same game parlays. So I knew there was some risk going into this. I know that line was getting me at that minus 180, but at the same time, I thought it was worth the risk. Ended up working out perfectly. He ended up getting 2 takedowns, I believe, too. So whoever had the over 1.5 takedowns, we were talking about that. I said take the over, don't take the under. That ended up cashing too. If anyone placed that bet, I didn't, because I was so invested in this 1+ takedown in same game parlay. But either way, both those bets hit. So this fight went exactly how we thought. I thought it was going to make it to the second round. It didn't. Ended up getting them at the very end of the first round. But absolute masterclass with this one. Now, next up, William Gomis versus Robert Ruchala. Now, this one was a good one too. The over 2.5 rounds I talked about in the last video. I said this was a great parlay piece that I liked a lot. That ended up cashing. Did I place anything on it? No, I didn't. So, didn't really get to reap the rewards of that pick. But hopefully, if you guys like that line and that stood out to you and you guys put in some parlays, that line cashed clear as day. Now, I did do a live bet and I put it on Robert Ruchala because in my eyes, I thought it was 1-1. I thought it was 1-1. And I forget which one. I think it was, in my eyes, William Gomis won the first and Robert Ruchala, he won the second. That's how I saw it, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So I figured, all right, if this is 1-1, they're in Paris, France. So yeah, obviously William Gomis is most likely going to win the decision. But at the same time, in my eyes, I thought it was 1-1 going into the third. So to see one guy be a plus 340 underdog in which was, in my eyes, was a 1-1 fight, it was just clear as day. I would have gone on it even heavier had it not been in France with the French fighter and William Gomis, who's a split decision robbery merchant. So obviously I only had 0.05 units on this, a lighter sprinkle, just because of that fact. If this was any other situation with any other fighters, if you think it's 1-1 going into the third and the one guy is a plus 340, that's a no-brainer. Now, this was so damn interesting. We'll talk about it at the very end a little bit more too, but William Gomis, he's lucky he did not get a point taken. This bet almost cashed. If he would have had a point, actually, well, nope, because he had one judge give him a 30-27. We're going to talk about this at the very end. This fight had some bullshit roughing in it. So wait till the end. We're going to talk about that a little bit more because I got a list of shit that we got to go over. But this fight, in terms of the pick though, William Gomis by decision cashed. The money line live bet, I had 0.05 units, obviously missed. But yeah, the over 2.5 rounds was a good call, had that. So overall, this fight went pretty much how we expected it to go. Now, next up, Axel Sola versus Rhys McKee. This was a bad one. This was a very, very... this was almost infuriating. I was just watching Rhys McKee go out here and look like absolute horseshit. It just like, you're just watching this. I don't even know how to describe it, but just watching Axel Sola just have that much success against Rhys McKee, it was mind-blowing how afraid Reese McKee was. He wasn't willing to engage. He was just... anything Reese McKee could have done to lose this fight, he managed to do. I don't know how he looked so good beforehand. He looked so confident. I figured, okay, this guy's ready for war. He's excited. He's confident. He's ready to go. He ended up looking like a pussy out there. I don't know what he was doing. He was not willing to throw. When he would land, he would have some success, but then he would just like not land or not even throw any strikes. I don't know what was going on here. Complete horseshit. And it was a shitty stoppage too. Such a bullshit stoppage. Herb Dean, of course he gives it to him. Herb Dean, if he dies, he dies out here. He jumped on that so damn fast. He didn't even give Reese McKee a second to recover. Absolute bullshit. But I'm not even mad about Axel Sola. He won this fight. He should have won either way. Reese McKee shit the bed. This was a horrible pick. This pick aged like absolute milk. So Reese McKee, I take full responsibility for this pick. You know, I thought Reese McKee would be able to walk him down, have the striking advantage, short notice, step up a weight class. Looked like he had a nasty staph infection. Reese McKee somehow finds a way to shit the bed. Absolutely disgraceful performance. And I'm like, I let my bias, or not even bias, but I like Reese McKee. You know, I like him as a person. I'm a fan of his. So seeing him just shit the bed like this, I'm like, I should have known. I should have known. I knew better, and I still picked him. Still had a half unit on him too. I'm like, oh my God, this is not a good pick. Reese McKee, welcome to the ban list. Reese McKee has officially been added. Michelle Pereira, you're on there too, buddy. The list is growing. The list is actively growing. Reese McKee is now he's found his spot on the ban list. But anyway, next up, Mason Jones versus Borralho. I was really happy about this pick. This pick was a happy one for me, you know, because I literally talked about this. I was like, one, I thought Borralho was overrated, but he came out, he looked really good in the striking early on. You know, he almost got Mason Jones out of there. The dude is explosive. The dude is fast. Borralho definitely looked improved in this fight. You know, he definitely looked like his training's been paying off. He seemed to improve fight to fight to fight because his striking looked a lot sharper here, and he was dangerous. You know, it was just the one thing we talked about. Mason Jones is the better grappler, and it's not even close. That's exactly what this fight came down to. That's all this fight came down to. It's exactly what I said in my full card breakdown video. Mason Jones is an extremely high-level judo practitioner, judo black belt, and BJJ black belt. He's competed at the highest level in Wales. He's like I don't want to say world champion, but he's like whatever their top team is in Wales, he competes there. So his grappling credentials are slept on, considering he only has 3 submissions on his on record. People really underestimate that part of his game, and that's exactly how he won this fight, was through his grappling. Borralho had holes in his grappling game that we've talked about. We just saw him get submitted by Chris Duncan because he shot himself into a takedown, or he shot himself into a guillotine, sorry. So, I mean, we've seen the holes in Borralho's game. We knew Mason Jones was the much better grappler. That's exactly how this played out. It was crazy, though. The fact that they both got knockdowns in the first round, absolute war, absolute brawl, super dope fight. And literally, the thing with Mason Jones is, though, it's like, dude, why are you not just fighting to your strengths, man? He made that an absolute war when he could have probably taken Borralho down in the first 30 seconds and just stayed there the whole fight. I mean, he could have had that way to win a lot easier, but what does he do? No, he goes to war. He almost gets finished, and then he thinks, okay, let me try and grapple now. So Mason Jones' fight IQ needs to be studied, because it's, I mean, about as terrible as it could possibly be, but he finally got it done. I was so pissed, though. Like we said, I had the bet placed in the last video, the betting breakdown video, the Mason Jones sub-only prop. That was so damn close to cashing. That was so damn close. I almost did the finish only, too. I almost had it because I was like, you know, maybe Mason Jones could knock him out, too. But I was like, play it off, because there's a chance Borralho could knock him out. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought it was more than likely going to go to a decision, because both of these guys are pretty damn durable. But it was just when he got to the ground, it was over. Now, I added the Mason Jones plus 7.5 alternate spread bet, just because the earlier parlay with Reese McKee, he got finished, and we had that as a later parlay at the very end that we talked about, but we talked about in the best bets video too. I had plus 7.5 on Reese McKee and Mason Jones, so after the Reese McKee part of that ended up flopping and screwing that bet over, I doubled down on the Mason Jones plus 7.5, so I have that in the white because we did talk about that line, so I doubled down on that one. But then the other 4 bets, dude, I was so pissed. I had Mason Jones via submission plus 1,000, 0.05 units on this. Dude, he has this Kimura locked in, and he is about to snap Borralho's arm. I don't know how Borralho did not tap. I mean, it was this close to getting that submission win in the first round. I was so pissed. I was like, damn, that would have been the huge bounce back, but didn't get it. But what I did do is I did double down too. I doubled down before the fight. I had a Mason Jones money line minus 155 quarter unit on that, because I was like, dude, screw Reese McKee. I'm not going to lie. This was a bit of like a I don't want to say a hate bet, but I was like, I need to get my get back. I'm like, that was just such a shitty pick. I'm like, all right, I feel confident about the Mason Jones pick. For minus 155, let's try and get some money back. So had that. Then when this fight actually ended up starting, Mason Jones, he got rocked early on by Borralho, and his live money line, his odds were plus, it was something crazy, but I didn't get on it enough. It like locked up for me. But it was like plus 500, plus 600. But when he gets back to his feet and he finally gets back up, I'm like, okay, you know, Mason Jones is durable as shit. He's going to be able, if he weathered that early storm, he should be able to lock back in and kind of get his way, kind of dust the cobwebs off, you know, and get back into the fight. So I had a little sprinkle on his live money line, 0.1 units at plus 150, which ended up cashing. But when he ended up reversing it and kind of flipping the switch here, and he ended up taking Borralho down, and he almost finished him in that first round, Borralho shot up to a plus 650 underdog. So I ended up putting the same amount on him for a little hedge play, 0.1 units on both of those live money lines. And since one was a plus 150, one was a plus 150, one was plus 650, regardless, at that point, it was a perfect hedge. No matter who won, it was going to be profit either way. Obviously, it would have been a hell of a lot better if Borralho won with the plus 650, but, you know, I'm not even mad. We'll take it. A little 0.5 profit from those two hedge plays. It ended up covering that submission prop loss. So overall, barely came out positive from this fight. But yeah, enough rambled about this one. It was a banger, though. This was an awesome fight. So now, Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. Sucks to see Paul Craig retire, man. You hate to see it. Paul Craig is a dog. And the thing I'll say about Modestas Bukauskas, he damn near went to grapple with Paul Craig towards the end of that round. Dude, I was a bit terrified. I'm not going to lie. And that's kind of what it talked about. I was like, I had a bad feeling going to this one. Like, dude, there's just some way. I just have this feeling in the back of my mind. I had this, like, in my intuition was telling me, like, dude, Paul Craig at some point is going to have an opportunity. Whether he gets it or not, you know, whether he's able to capitalize, who knows? But for a minus 350, I want to be damn sure confident in him. You know what I mean? Like, I could see Modestas Bukauskas doing some dumb shit, getting caught, doing something stupid. He almost did, but he was able to get it done. Modestas Bukauskas knocks out Paul Craig. Very end of round one. It was kind of crazy. I wish I would have known about Paul Craig retiring before this. I didn't know he was going to retire. If I did know he was going to retire, I definitely would have had some money on a finish prop, because once a guy is already looking at the door, you know, he has 1 foot out the door, you can't really have a ton of confidence in him to really go out there and go for a huge win and put everything he has into it, because he's already thinking about what's his next step outside of the cage. So I wish I would have known about that. I would have definitely had a little finish prop action on Modestas Bukauskas. But either way, I took this one off. I didn't have anything on this. I didn't have anything in later parlays with this. I just completely took this one off, but got the pick right, so we'll take it with Modestas Bukauskas. Next up, BSD versus Ruffy. Now, this one screwed a lot of people over, man. That's what I was kind of saying. You know, I kind of folded a little bit, because on one hand, I was saying in my full card breakdown when I was breaking this fight down, man, like, people completely underestimate BSD's grappling. It's like, yeah, he's only losing to high-level guys, but we just haven't seen Ruffy really tested like that. And the thing with Ruffy, I still pick Ruffy. You know, I thought Ruffy was going to win this. Like I said, I thought the most likely outcome was going to be a Ruffy round 2 knockout. But at the same time, I wasn't completely underestimating BSD's grappling, because I literally broke this down. He had a ton of success, and he was able to really dominate Dustin Poirier in the grappling in the first round of that fight. He got caught when he ended up starting to want to strike with Dustin Poirier, but in that first round, he dominated in the grappling. And the thing is with Ruffy, we just haven't seen his grappling really tested like that at a high level, and BSD is a high-level grappler, so I'm not surprised that BSD stuck to a smart game plan. And I literally talked about that too. BSD just got a new coach, so he's training, and he's really putting together full game plans. He literally said in his last fight, when he fought against Prepolek, he said he knew more about Prepolek on a couple days' notice, and he did more research on him than he had done for Moicano. So I'm like, obviously BSD is starting to lock in and actually think and put game plan, put an actual thought process into his fight. So I'm not surprised he stuck to the game plan. He did exactly what he needed to do. Shout out to BSD, man. He deserved this one. Ruffy, grappling was decent at times, but he was just a step behind. He wasn't able to get that flashy knockout, and he kind of just crumbled, man. I don't want to say he gave up, but at the same time, it's just like, Ruffy doesn't do the best when fights really get nitty gritty, you know, when they get tough, when it starts to extend longer, he doesn't do the best, and I'm not surprised of this outcome. You know, I can't say I'm mind blown. I didn't have him as a high confidence pick for a reason. I thought he was going to be able to knock BSD out, but Can't say I'm super surprised. In terms of the bets, though, oh my god, he almost got submitted in the first round. I was going to be pissed because we had the Mauricio Ruffy first round only prop. Got a refund on that, thank God. Like I said in the last video, too, I was actually going to consider putting a sprinkle on Ruffy's money line if it tightened up, but it actually got even wider before the fight started, so there was nothing really there for me in terms of the value. And then the one thing I did have, though, I did put a live bet on Mauricio Ruffy. I thought it was great value. He jumped to a plus 500 literally within like a minute and a half of the fight starting. BSD got it to the ground at one point very early on, and at that point the line jumped so fast, I'm like, screw this dude. Mauricio Ruffy is not out of this fight. He can come back from this. He could definitely win this fight at this point. Still, it's not like BSD was like on his neck cranking it at that point. So I had 0.15 units at plus 500. Not mad about this at all. I still think it's good value. So not mad about that bet at all. And it ended up missing, obviously. So yeah, ended up down on this by 0.15 units because we got a refund of the first round only bet, but not mad about this one at all. Can't say I'm surprised. Now, same thing with the Imavov versus Borralho. I'm not really too upset about this one either. This was, I forget which round it was. I think it was towards the end of the second round. Borralho ended up being a plus 650 favorite, or underdog, sorry. So I figured, all right, screw it, man. Borralho is smart. You know, he's probably going to ramp up later on in this. Maybe he wasn't having success with the grappling early on, but let's say the third round he comes out hot and he's able to have some grappling success. That line is going to tighten up quite a bit. I was looking to see if I could ever get some hedge value there, so I figured, all right, Borralho at plus 650. If the tides turn, this line's going to tighten up and I'll probably get some good hedge value. Never ended up happening, so I had the same thing, 0.15 units on this one too, like I had on the Ruffy. Same thing, just 0.15 on both of these. Obviously, it ended up missing, so it went down 0.15 units on the main and the co-main events. But yeah, I'm not super mad. You know, I kind of talked about it in the full card breakdown. This, like, I'm looking for a 5-round fight, especially. It gives you even more opportunities for a potential hedge play. So plus 650, that was perfectly fine value to me. I liked it. And I'm not surprised about this fight. You know, it was pretty shitty with Imavov and the eye pokes not getting any repercussions for that at all. And the 50-45 scorecard was such bullshit. So when I heard the 50-45, I was like, okay, there's no way Borralho is winning this fight either way. There's no way. Now, do I think Borralho won? Absolutely not. Imavov won this fight. Even if you were to take an eye poke point deduction, he still would have won this fight. So I think Imavov definitely deserved to have his hand raised. Don't get me wrong. But the 50-45 is like, okay, Borralho had no chance. There was no way in hell. He would have had to get to a finish to win this fight. I'm not surprised. He's fighting the Frenchman in Paris, but at the same time, Imavov outdogged him, had the better striking. Don't get me wrong, Imavov deserved to win this fight, and I'm okay with being wrong on that pick. You know, I'm okay with being that. It was a low confidence pick for me. I figured either guy could win it. It's just Borralho wasn't able to have any success in the grappling. Imavov looked a little bit better, a little bit faster on the feet. He was able to land some more powerful, accurate shots. So it's all fine for Imavov winning this one. Now, for the parlays, we got screwed on some of these parlays. So the first one I was glad to have, we had the play of the week hit, which was fire. We had the Sam parlay, I called it. Sam Hughes and Sam Patterson absolutely cashed. The next parlay, I was so pissed. Fakhretdinov versus Gustafsson. Of course, that's the one leg that screws us. Didn't go over 1.5 rounds. On some bullshit, too. That fight was some bullshit, man. I don't care what anyone says. Seeing Gustafsson go down in under a minute by just a basic 1-2, I better hope he has a good yacht. I better hope he has a new Ferrari in his driveway. I hope he has a new mansion, because whatever he got paid off to throw the bag or throw that fight away and just shit the bed that badly, I hope he got paid well. But then, you know, the one fight I'm not mad about is the Reese McKee plus 7.5 alternate spread and Mason Jones plus 7.5 alternate spread. Reese McKee, now, I do think that stoppage was bullshit, and that's just some French robbery bullshit-ass decision or stoppage. Should not have been stopped. That was early stoppage. But what I will say is that if it would have gone to the scorecards, it would have been a 30-27. This bet would have missed either way, because I went and looked at the scorecards, and they were all they gave Axel Solo the first 2 rounds across all 3 judges. So. And obviously he was hurt in that third round too, so there was no way in hell that he was going to get that third round on the scorecards anyway. So this bet would have missed either way. So in sense of that, don't say, oh, bitter cope. I don't want to hear it, because I know this bet would have missed either way. Not mad about the bet itself missing. It's just mad about that stoppage, because it was some bullshit. So yeah, missed on that one too. And then I added a parlay later on too. I called it the croissant parlay. Omar C minus 3.5 spread and William Gomis money line. I was just trying to get a little get back on this one later on, especially because we had that earlier parlay with Omar C miss, and Omar C was a really confident pick for me, so I wanted to have a little extra on his straight up money line. But the odds at that point, because I placed this after it was like after the was it the Reese McKee loss, or maybe it was the Renat? No, it was after the Renat Fakhretdinov, that fight where it screwed that second parlay. I was like, all right, I want to get a little get back, but at that point, the Omar C money line was so damn wide. It was minus 650, I think, at that point. So I ended up taking the minus 3.5 spread to get the odds a little bit better on that, and took William Gomis money line minus 137, quarter unit to make 0.18 units. That ended up cashing. So on the night, this was my full slate on the night, up 0.87 units. Like we said, I got all the plays that we went over. The ones in blue were the ones that I added that we hadn't talked about originally. So yeah, this was the whole spread. If you want to look it over, this is everything that I had on the night. So a little 10% ROI on the night for your boy. It did pretty decent. You know, I'll take it, about a unit. I was shitty. I did tax it with Reese McKee. You know, Reese McKee, he took away a decent amount of profit that, looking back, I'm like, damn, dude, I had a unit on Reese McKee that definitely overextended on him. We'll talk about that at the very end, but this was if you would have placed all of the bets that I talked about in the best bets video, all the action that I had at the time when I released that video. So still profitable either way if you followed the picks. Everything we cashed on both ends with the live, with the after that video, all the bets we placed and all the bets we placed in that video would have cashed either way. So all in all, a great night. You know, profit is profit, money's money, profit is always good. So can't complain no matter how much it is. So either way, I'm happy with the night. We did pretty well. Now, final thoughts on the card. This is where I wanted to kind of go over all this really quick. Now, the coincidences on this card was some bullshit. This was probably one of the most, like, it wasn't anything major, but it was a combination of all the little things of the night in terms of all the robbery bullshit and French corruption. It was like, I had to put this in the notes because I was watching this. I was like, oh my God, this happened. And then this happened. And then this happened. It gets to a point, man. So Gustafsson giving up in under 1 minute, and he's never been finished before that, and he's known for his durability. When he's fighting a guy who's literally came off of a corrupt win he got in Abu Dhabi where those refs or those judges were paid off to give him that win. And then he comes in and has this performance. And the thing about this fight too, if you go back and watch this, the whole before the fight, the entire time they're saying, you know, Renat Fakhretdinov, he needs to get a finish in this one. You know, if he gets a finish in this one, he's really going to jump up in the rankings. A finish would be huge for him. And then a couple minutes later, like they're saying, oh, you know, his coaches say he really needs to come out here and get a finish. They talk about it from the coaches to the announcers, the commentators. They bring up Renat Fakhretdinov getting a finish like 6 times, like 10 minutes before the fight starts. I mean, they just kept saying it over and over again. He needs to get a finish. You know, Renat's really going for this finish. You know, his coaches say he's too nice to his opponents. He doesn't get finishes, but this time we think he's going to get a finish. I'm like, I have never seen that before. You know, you hear Michael Bisping like ramble sometimes. Oh, you need to go for the finish when he starts like talking like live when he's commentating the fights when they're actually going. But I have never seen that much talk about, oh, I need to get a finish. And then he goes out and gets a knockout in under 60 seconds against one of the most durable, tough guys, known for their durability, known for their chin, known for their toughness. And he doesn't even get cracked. He folds. He just gives up. He cowers over like a coward. I don't know what he was doing. This fight, you're not going to be able to prove me wrong. There was some bullshit going on behind the scenes. Gustafsson, I hope he's in his mansion right now because he definitely got a huge payday. Now, William Gomis, too. William Gomis had the most blatant eye poke of all time. He throws a punch, it doesn't connect, and then he goes boom, and the eye pokes straight into the eyes. No point deduction for that. So the rules mean nothing. The rules mean nothing. Like, if it's an accidental, yeah, no, don't take a point immediately for an accidental. That's clearly an accidental. A clearly, blatantly intentional eye poke needs to be a point. Needs to be a point. That would have changed this fight. Now, the thing is, though, William Gomis got a 30-27 scorecard. It would not have mattered. It would not have mattered. This was 1-1 going into the third round, but he's in Paris, France. He had a judge on his side, gave him the 30-27. The eye poke would not have mattered at all, and that's the shittiest part. This dude could have cheated his way to a win, and it still wouldn't have mattered. He could have, even if the point was taken like it should have been, he would have still had the robbery win. It should have been a draw, but nope. Absolute horse shit. It was so damn annoying. William Gomis gets his second robbery, and I don't even want to say robbery. It just should have been a draw. He should have got a point taken away. Even if he won the first and the third rounds, should have been a draw. Absolute horse shit. And then Axel Sola, early stoppage from Herb Dean of all refs. Herb Dean, if he dies, he dies. And now he jumped to that. He jumped to stop that fight so fast. I've never seen that man move that fast in my life. And when is he doing that? When's he moving that fast? When is he doing an early stoppage? When it's the Frenchman. It gets to a point. And then we have Imavov. Imavov, 50-45 scorecard. Are we serious right now? 50-45? 50-45. Kyle Borralho had no chance. He had no chance. Now, Imavov still won that fight. Even if he, and that's the thing too with the eye pokes, even if he had a point deduction for the eye pokes, Imavov still deserved to win the fight. Don't get me wrong. Imavov won the fight. Don't get it twisted. But no, there's no consequences here. There's no consequences here. Imavov is a literal dirty fighter who has been eye poking everyone. He is a known eye poker, and he gets 2 eye pokes, and it's like, all right, at that point, we're not taking the point for 2 eye pokes. The rules just don't mean shit. At that point, they don't matter. It's like, what's the point of having rules when you're just not going to enforce shit at all? It's so bullshit. And it's not like, if it's like someone's known as being a very respectful, not dirty fighter, you know, that should have some weight when it goes into these fights. Because literally, I was looking through it, I was like, Imavov has eye poked Buckley, Dolidze, Cannonier, Adesanya, and now Borralho. He got the whole headbutting thing with Chris Curtis. He has a record of being a dirty ass fighter who eye pokes people to get wins. And then he gets 2 in this fight, and there's no repercussions. Why even have the rules at this point? Why have the rules? There's no point. There's no reason to have them, because there's not gonna be point deduction. So it's not like any of these examples were like huge standouts of like, that's a huge instance of corruption, or like that's some bullshit, like what's going on here. It's just when you add up all this bullshit across one card, it's like it gets to a point. I don't know why not enough people aren't really speaking up about this type of thing. It's very, very frustrating to watch as a fan, just as a fan, not even a bettor or anything like that, just as a fan. It gets to a point. But I digress. Yeah, I had this meme. Eye pokes being illegal in MMA. No clear guideline for point deductions. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Like Thanos says, man. That's just how we are. That's just how it is. You let one man be responsible for determining the outcome of a fight, and what do you know? There's bound to be some corruption. I mean, it's like, how dumb do people think we are as UFC fans? But the takeaways, the good, up money on the night, had the play of the week, cash, confident picks came through, as you can see, had the lock, had all 3 high confidence picks end up cashing, so that was sick. And I really liked, you know, the takes that we had with Hughes, Omar Sy +1 takedown, Patterson, Fernandez, and Jones picks. They all aged like fine wine. They went exactly how we talked about, so I was super happy with that, about those. The bad, overextended on Reese McKee. Should have known better. Should not have had him in 2 separate plays. If I was going to have him in one, I'm not super mad about that, but yeah, having half a unit on 2 different plays, I feel like I definitely overextended a little bit on that one. And then lesson learned, never bet against Rinat Fakhretdinov in any way possible. I'm never betting against that man ever. Never touching the over-unders, never betting against him, never betting against Rinat Fakhretdinov in any sense. Never doubting his abilities, because he's going to find a way to pay his way to a win. And then you can't pick against the French, and when they're in Paris, you just can't do it. You can't do it because the fouls aren't going to matter. If there's any close decision, it's not going to go to the other guy's way, and the refs are going to be on their sides too. So if there's any type of stoppage that the Frenchman needs, they're going to get it. You can't bet against the French in Paris. And then finally, William Gomis via decision when in Paris might just be an infinite money glitch. It might just be that. I mean, it's unstoppable. It is unstoppable. He's going to get that decision win. But anyway, that does it for the recap for UFC Paris. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found some value with the videos this week. If you did, drop your boy a like, a comment, subscription, or membership. Anything like that supports your boy a ton. And thank you guys so much for all the love on the videos. It's been totally awesome. Sorry for a little bit of a longer delay on this recap video. I was just busy on Saturday. I went out with some friends, so I didn't have time to drop this video. I figured I'll do it the next morning when I'm a little bit more fresh. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for all the love. I'm going to get you guys soon on the next week of Dana White Contender Series, and then we got the next card coming out with Gene Silva and Diego Lopez. It's going to be a banger. Can't wait to talk about those. Can't wait to put out the videos for those. So I'm getting working on those today, and I'll have those out soon for you guys. So once again, thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. It's your boy Jacob from Topside MMA. Until I see you guys in the next one, I'm out. So peace.